Right. True. Like, I'm walking on at 3. My boy. All right, good afternoon. Thank you guys for jumping on and for chiming in with us. Put this away. So, a couple things we want to talk about today. Obviously, we want to recognize the agents that have submitted. Is this issue pay? No, issue pay. Through 3 weeks. This is year to date? No, this is month to date.
There's month to date and week to date.
I'm like, this is year to date. These numbers are gargantuan.
See that week David had?
All right, so issue paid. Got it. All right, top 20 issue paid through March, 3 weeks into the month. Which I mean, a lot of people are on record pace, so this is really awesome. Gets all the juices flowing and excited when people are breaking down doors, breaking down barriers to success. Number 20, Sam Moberly, 21,816. Jose Rodriguez, who killed it on the 10K Club call this morning. He's great, 22,000 through 3 weeks. Great job, Jose. Latoya Daniels, whose birthday it is today. Let's give it to Latoya. Happy birthday, Latoya, 22,197. Ben Roberts, 22,538 through the week, through 3 weeks. Craig Wood, 22,387. Orlando Payne, 24,357. Justin Morgan, 24,590. This is 590. Mario Guajardo, 25,257. Wow, guys are killing it. Matthew Borsch, 25,905 through 3 weeks. John Mazzella, great work. 26,942. Steph Cover, 28,261. Michael Huveley. Michael Huveley, 30,727. This is cracking now. We're into the top 8. Kitsi Khaleesi, 31,553. Number 7, Danielle Byrne, 32,125. Teddy Ingram, killing it. 44,011 $11. Number 6. Coming in at number 5, Chris Wasserman. Great work, man. This is awesome. 46,141. This is life-changing stuff. Number 4, Steven Giordano, 54,903. Number 3, Wayne Carr, who's having his best month ever. We'll get into that. As an agency, 56,353. Jonathan Porcina, number 2, 70,409. And number 1, we also had a huge issue pay week, 131,328. David Pyle, who for the week issued 119,000. So that's pretty cool. Not bad.
I said 1 week, right?
1 week, just 1 week, just 1 week. So, so we're gonna go. We're gonna start cutting off. You can get this to them, but sales manager and above. So tracking, 50,000 through 4 weeks. We're good. We'll take it off. I'm gonna start reading from here. All right, FL Shoreline, 49,605. These are issue paid agencies through 3 weeks through the month of March. Shoreline, 50,000. FFL Wisdom, Strength, and Beauty, 56,357. FFL The Good Life, Jeff Beathy, 59,144. Steph Cover, FFL Insured Trust, 61,477. These are all sales manager tracking and above. FFL Third Coast, 69,176. Alex Labrija, Denny Gonzalez, FFL The Future, 75,301. Danielle Byrne, FFL Legacy, 78,936. Michael Lower, FFL Pay It Forward, $83,021. Jonathan Porcina, FFL Loyalty, 97,608. Jesse Parley, FFL Avenues, 101,870. So these are your senior sales managers and above, 100,000 plus. Cindy Siddick, FFL Service Before Self, 114,198. Gabriel Singh, this is now VP territory, 150,000 and above. FFL The Way, 148,323. Jose Groxrunner, best month ever. FFL Momentum, they definitely have momentum, and he's now VP. Give him a round of applause, Jose. Vice President, first time doing that, 168,157. Kyrie Joyner, FFL Humble Beginnings, 177,379. David Pyle, FFL Great Lakes, 204,843. Caleb Ambrose, FL 320. They're having their best month ever. Give them a round of applause. 233,587. Steve Giordano, FL Health and Wealth, 250,000 through 3 weeks. Mark Trolley, best month ever. Just had him in studio. Give him a round of applause. 252,225. Wayne Cartracker, best month ever. FFL Hidden Gems, 416,013. Give them a round of applause, please. These guys are out there. They're serving people. They're helping families. They're seeing people put more money in their bank accounts. This is a big deal. So let's make sure we treat it that way. Rob Richmond, number 3, 525,000. They're poised for some serious growth here. 075. Brian Mendenhall tracking his best issue paid month. And looks like he's going to hit board member at $1 million because he's $757,299 through 3 weeks. Give him a round of applause. And Ivan Vedroff, number 1, FFL Universe, his best month ever. He's usually at this number through 4 weeks. So at 1.345 through 3 weeks, they'll eclipse 1.7, 1.8 million over 4 weeks. 1.345, $934 for FFL Universe. Give them a round of applause. So really good stuff. What you're starting to see, though, is the common theme. And I wanted to get in here a little bit, and we'll do some training, and John will help us out. But the common theme that is happening across the country are people buying leads. Like I think like I want to write, but everything's kind of taken up here. But that's okay. I don't know where I could write if I wanted to write. Anywhere? All right, cool. I'll try to use this lane right here, just for right now. But the common theme is like, you're a business owner. You get your license. It's uncharted territory for a lot of people. You have a license, to sell life insurance. But you basically run your own business at that point in time. This is not, no one's going to tap you on the shoulder to wake you up in the morning. No one's going to coddle you when it's not going well. No one's going to pay your rent or pay your mortgage. Nobody. Sorry. You know what I mean? But you do have a license to print money. So what do we want to do? To me, this was a real easy one for me. Like when I looked at all my years in sales and all the prospecting I had to do, buying leads was easy. I mean, it was like, I can either continue to pound the pavement. I mean, because at the time, my background was in mortgages, and I had went from a lead-based model, which was sitting in an office all day, to trying to get out there and make something happen. It was brutal, but I didn't like the lead-based model because it was all refinances and it wasn't my thing. I didn't like the mortgage business anyway, but I had to change what I was doing, right? So I started going to see realtors, accountants, attorneys, and trying to get referral business from other mortgage brokers who couldn't get deals done that I could get done. Can I just be honest? It sucked. It wasn't fun. There was nothing fun about pounding the pavement, hoping someone sends you an email saying, I have a deal for you. I mean, it was not fun. And then what happened is when I got some of those leads, and if I couldn't get their deal done, guess how happy they were to send me another deal? They weren't. It was actually brutal. So it was a lot of kissy face for not a lot in return for what I was putting out work-wise. I didn't see the value. So when I saw the ability to purchase my own destiny, because the leads are your destiny. If you have leads, you can win. If you don't have leads, you can't win. That's what I found out in my career in sales over 20 years. If you have leads, you win. Anytime I was on accounts, those are leads that I have. I can work those accounts. I can grow accounts. Give me accounts. If I don't have accounts, Rob, guess who has to get the accounts?
You.
Me. So it's either I have accounts or I don't have accounts, but either way, I need leads. With leads, I'll create accounts, I'll create business, I'll drum up anything if I have leads. No leads, that's hard. So for me, it was time over money. It wasn't money over time. It was time versus money. And I think people have it the other way around. They think it's money versus time. It's not. Because the idea, I'm sorry. I thought my phone was talking to me. The idea that I would sit in front of Panera Bread or Starbucks or go to my church and hang out with people and then eventually ask them if they want life insurance. That's painful. Extremely painful, John. I mean, brutal. You know what's less painful? Your rebuttal this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? People think that's painful. Like what John did to that insurance lead. Calls the lead up. Lead says, I'm not interested. He goes, with all due respect, are you not interested because you're getting a lot of phone calls? Or like, she goes, yeah, that's why I'm not interested. He goes, well, wouldn't it just make sense if, like, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face if you hang up on me? Why don't we just get this taken care of? That is easier. 100 times easier, George. 100 than sitting in front of Panera or talking to the moms and dads on the soccer field. Way easier. I'd much rather do that.
Yeah.
Times 1,000. Because all I know is if that person says no, I pick up another lead, I make another phone call. Much rather. And I figured that out in my career. Like, I'd much rather do that. I'd much rather get uncomfortable figuring out all the pressure points inside of a phone script where people think they got me, reverse it on them, and win. That was easier. That takes a lot shorter time period. Lot shorter. Because I could screw up a whole bunch and still win. That's the deal. We're screwing up a bunch and still winning. What's the problem? The problem is looking at a number that says $1,000 a week versus $1,500 a week. This is the problem. This is what people see. They don't see the time. They see the money. All I see is the time. That's all I see. You bring your guy in, I say, look, he's spending 80% of his time, Rob, prospecting.
Yep.
80%.
Yeah.
How do I know that? That's exactly what I just described to you when I was in the mortgage business trying to get referrals. 80% I'm in front of people saying, will you give me business? In a different way. In a real different way. We're talking, we're shooting the stuff. I'm trying to get you to like me enough so that you can send me business. Painful. Very painful. Now, it works for a lot of people in society. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just I'm trying to teach you how to make money in a short period of time, right? I can't do it that way. That's long, 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 long tail. Because I can't ask you for favors until I deliver. The only way I can deliver is if you trust me to give me something. It takes time. 80% of his time prospecting. 20% of his time in front of people. This is everybody's pitching here. If anyone who's recruiting, we're building a team. You should be, by the way. We'll teach you how to get in front of people, how to prospect 20% of the time, which is your dialing, which is a joke. 20% of the time, dialing. It's 8 to 12 hours a week, dialing the phones, booking 30 appointments a week, and get in front of people 80% of the time, which is where where everything comes to pass, is being in front of people. In front 80% of the time. This is what changed the game. This changed my entire trajectory of my sales career. The entire thing. I was getting worn out. I was trying to figure it out. And then I found leads. That worked. Leads that people actually filled something out. And you know what they want to tell you? They have every excuse in the book. I didn't fill it out. I'm not going to be home. You have to come to the house. You know what made more money for me? Taking 2 weeks to 4 weeks to figure out how to get around that. That was more profitable for me than me quitting or me going, yeah, I just better go back. These leads aren't any good, you know. The leads aren't any good? The leads fill something out. How much better do you want the leads to be? They're a lead to a sale. You want Glengarry leads? I was talking to Mo Ray. I mean, Mo. Is it Mo? Not Mo Ray. Mo Tillis. Mo, did y'all hear the call he did, or is that still scheduled to play? Did that play yet?
I don't think
It's coming out next Monday.
Yeah.
Yo, he's like, I love you guys with your $1,000 leads, meaning $1,000 for one lead. You want the leads that cost $1,000. He's like, I'm just going to call these $3 leads a lot. And he's killing it. If you're not friends with Mo on Facebook, please. Yeah. The dude's very inspirational. And dude, he's killing it. It's not like he's kind of killing it, hoping to kill it, one day wishing to kill it. You remember when he came in the office in December? Through a snowstorm, he came in, and it was like his first time. It felt like his first time on the phones. He probably wasn't, But he wasn't doing it. He wasn't doing a lot. It's March, guys. You go, you mean December 2016? No, 3 months ago. I asked him on that call, what's your best income week? 10 grand. $10,000 in 7 days. Why? Because he's cool calling $3 leads that are 90 days old and dealing with the 4 or 5 fake objections. That's the thing we have to understand. They're not even real. This lady is trying to blow John off because she received a lot of phone calls. And now it's in her DNA to say, no, I don't want it. Really? So your family's you're gonna die, your family suffers because you're upset, you got some phone calls, and he's smart enough and personable enough and unoffended enough to handle that objection and turn just in a regular conversation. Make sense? Like, what are we afraid of? One question, change 176 a month. One question. Let me ask you, so you're not really not interested. You're just tired of getting phone calls, right? And then guess what? All of a sudden now I'm hanging out with you. And we're walking in the park and we're having a conversation. As opposed to, these leads are just no good, man. You know, they said they didn't do it or they weren't interested. What are you talking about? 100% she was interested. But George, I only see the opportunity. I'm never concerned about what didn't happen. Everything's in percentages. So I'm not gonna beat myself up or let the clients beat me up. Because I'm not getting 100% of those people to say yes. And I'm not confused. Nor am I looking for 100%. Does that make sense? I'm not. I'm just looking for percentages. I do need to challenge. He didn't do anything great. That's like saying, what would you like, almond milk or whole milk? That's what he just did. That's it. He's like, almond milk or whole milk. Y'all like, wow! He just asked them. They asked for life insurance. He called them up. They basically tried to act like they didn't want it. And he just asked, almond or whole? Because he's having a conversation. He didn't have this crazy rebuttal or crazy objection shatterer. He just asked a question, guys. But he's personable enough to know what they're thinking because he's attacking the points that they come up with that are fake, that don't exist, and he knows where the pressure points are on all of these leads because he's spending 20% of his time prospecting and 80% of his time in front of people. We start acting like, and across the country, I mean, we need to start treating it like it is, like we're helping people. That one question helps that family. And they absolutely wanted the coverage. 100%. 100,000%. That was a $2,000 annual sale. That's 2 G's. Grand. One question. And we're turning this into like, guys, we've got to start realizing that $1,000 a week is your friend, not your enemy. Right? $1,500 a week is your friend, not your enemy. There's not a top producer that's not investing in their business. And there's not anyone building a big agency that hasn't invested in their business. So the idea that people want to come on board and have zero invested and then want to build and want to make 100 grand in a week, guys, stop. So we have to start realizing, and this is if you're building a team, if you're working with people, everyone in here is working with somebody. If you're working with people, this is like, knock it off. You can't have a business and not give it any gas. So does anyone have any questions about that? Or just the idea? I know I beat it to death, so maybe the questions got just beaten to shreds. But does anyone have any findings behind that or anything they're struggling with? Maybe they want to be honest about something they can't wrap their head around. I'm open. If not, I'm gonna go ahead, brother.
So I like the way you put that, working your way to find the pressure points around the objectives. Can you just itemize those 3 or 4 or 5 pressure points where you have to?
Every lead's different.
Right.
That's the thing. You have to understand. So I could work 9-year-old leads and I could close. Not because I'm Mark Mead, but because there's pressure points. Whatever I need to do to drum up interest after 9 years, there's pressure around that. The only way for me to get good at it is to call 9-year-old leads a lot. That's it. internet instant. I got guys that tell me they love the 3-month-old instant internet life leads. They're 90 days old. And they say what John dealt with, which is they're no longer getting calls. They never got it taken care of because people with no phone skills who don't care about the families, they don't care enough to ask a question. I'll say it that way. Get blown off because the lady goes, no, I'm not interested. And they go, can I ask why you're not interested? Which is a dumb question. Does that make sense? Like, we want this result, but we play right into the hands of the client. We're not attacking pressure points, Aaron. We're checking off the box. Now we're in the diner saying, what can I get you, honey? That's what you're doing. When you go, is there any reason why you're not interested? Well, didn't you fill this out? This is your address, isn't it? That's so weak. And I'm sorry you're not getting any appointments that way. Right? Because there's how different is that than the last guy I just called? Make sense? Meaning now, if I'm getting killed on leads, I'm just gonna go, I take a minute, I start diagnosing, I say, this is exactly what I did with internet leads in 2014. Because it's the same buzzsaw with internet leads. I didn't fill this out. We no longer want it. So I go, this is not real. This is a figment. First of all, I need to make money. So I'm already all in, bro. Like there's no way for me to go back, right? So, and we don't have leads. In 2014, the company had no leads. Family First Life had no leads. We had old leads and we used to all work with new leads. And I'm like, all right, I gotta find vendors that can get me leads. And then I go, this is a figment of my imagination. These guys definitely fill this out. Why am I getting this? And what I found was that I was doing the run-on like it was a direct mail lead. You understand with direct mail, they actually took out a pen, they filled this thing out, they put their height, their weight, their address, their multiple different phone numbers, and an internet lead, send. Do you understand that's two different psychologies? So with a direct mail lead, I have the ability to do that long 12-second lead in, and on an internet lead, I did not. Because 6 seconds in, they've already conjured up in here that they didn't fill it out. So I was like, I gotta cut this off a lot sooner, and I gotta leave it in a place where I don't have to do the work, which is what John figured out. And I was talking to him this last week. He's like, I said, what's your script on internet leads? It was the exact same script that we came up with, but it was like, hey, Mary, Mark Mead, I'm getting back to you from the benefits center. This is in reference to the inquiry you put in for life insurance. 4 seconds, I'm done. Now shut up. The hard part about me not going in regards to the inquiry you put in for life insurance, my job's simple. I just gotta confirm some information, figure out, boom, 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 you're done. They're smoking you at that point.
Yeah, it's whoever talks first after you give your little pitch.
Well, no, because here's the thing. I can do that pitch, which I do on a mortgage lead or a final expense direct mail lead. Hey, Rob, Mark Me, getting back to you from the benefits center. This is in regards to the card you filled out for the final expense burial program. My job's simple. I just got to confirm the info. That's 12 seconds. I had the liberty to do that on a direct mail lead, and I don't have the liberty to do that on an internet lead. How did I figure that out? Calling them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
On an internet lead, if I do all that, the only thing they want to say is they didn't do it. And on the internet, the easiest thing to say is you didn't do it. Someone hacked me. Sorry, I didn't do it. Now I'm stuck eating a whatever dollar lead because I didn't get any better. What I realize is when we go, getting back to you in reference to the inquiry you put in for life insurance, we're done. 4 seconds, and you did do an inquiry for life insurance. So now what? Now you have to lie. And if you don't have, in 4 seconds, it's hard to conjure up that lie. So that's why I cut it off. It's very difficult to lie when I hit you so hard in the mouth with something you did do, and I only gave you 4 seconds to think about it. So now I shut up, and your reaction is now, okay, yeah, right? It's usually a slow yes, because they're not that good. You know what I'm saying? See, they're not in school learning how to beat the life insurance guy, but we're in school learning how to beat the client, right? Because that right there, I win. So if it's a true no, they'll be able to say it, and it's not a lie because they didn't have enough time to process the information that I gave them. It's a true no, then I'll go, You sure? You wrote down your address is such and such, your height is this, your weight. Oh yeah. 50% of the time. 50% of the time it's another no. I'm done. But 75% of the time I get a slow yes. Yeah. Then now my job's simple. No problem. My job's simple. I just got to confirm the information you put down here and get this. Because now we're playing ball again. You know, the next objection is once I start rolling. Oh, you got to come out. Oh, we can't do this online. Oh, blah. This is just a game. And the client likes to win. They do. I like to win more because I like seeing money go in my account. And I know the client needs the coverage. The best part about what we do is we're never harming anybody. Every time we put coverage in place, we won, the client won. I love that. I'm not selling them something they don't need. They have to have it, but they're just trying to sell me they don't need it. I was just talking to Maria. I have friends that want life insurance and are passive aggressive. Everyone's passive aggressive about life. Y'all are passive aggressive about your own policies. You all know y'all need more life insurance, or you need some life insurance, and you're passive aggressive. You're like, yeah, I know, I work here. I need a policy. My mom, I'll get it later, right? You're passive aggressive about your own life insurance policies. And you think the clients you meet with aren't passive aggressive? Dude, your job is to beat the passive aggressiveness. That's it. So, does that make sense? It's a long answer to every lead's different. You literally have to find it by calling it, right? But understanding that all of these leads have pain points or pressure points, and you can win if you give it time and stop melting down, you know? And $1,000 a week means you have a lot of cracks. It's very difficult to fail with a lot of chances. I'm sorry. Anybody can be good at this if they take enough chances. The idea that you don't have any money and this and that, you have money. If your favorite pop star came into town and the tickets were on sale, you'd go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've seen people come with money for a lot of stuff. Let's knock it off. You either believe in yourself or you don't. Let's roll. So with that, I want to bring up my man AG real quick. AG, come on, give him a round of applause.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I hand this over to Mazzella. But happy to have you here, brother.
Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. So finally, let's talk about this. Let's talk about finally. How long have you been in life insurance sales? So I had to do that.
8 years.
8 years. Okay. So how'd you get started 8 years ago?
I met you. We met at my previous employer. You bought a car for me, introduced me to the opportunity, and I got licensed.
I got licensed about 8 years ago, so that makes sense. All right. So then, what'd you do with the opportunity?
I dabbled with it. I sold my friends and family. I went out when it was nice, made a little bit of money, and just didn't really jump into the deep end.
Got it. So how many times do you think about jumping into the deep end?
At least 10 times.
10 times in that 8-year time frame?
Absolutely.
Okay, got it. So this came back up multiple times. What was it that was popping back up? Were you watching success? Were you
always seeing success, hearing from you, just paying attention. I've always plugged into the culture of Family First Life, the encouragement and all that, and just knowing that there was something better out there than what I was doing.
Got it. Better than what you was doing, what you were doing.
Yes.
Right. So what made you finally end up kind of moving on from your previous career?
So it was a couple things.
You don't have to be too, but you can just
Listen, at the end of the day, I was making a certain amount of money. I was being promised a bunch of stuff, and it was just never coming to fruition. You know, wife, kids, college, all that stuff. Just concerned about making sure the ends meet, and the ends were meeting. But it got to a point where, you know, the ceiling over my head was it was time to go.
Got it.
It was time to go.
Okay, got it. So you made that decision. And did you think about a lot of different places, or was you always?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I didn't know this. I mean, I saw this on Facebook, and he quit his job. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? And you didn't call me. It's like you. It's not like you had this thing lined up, and then I knew it was happening.
So can I just go?
Yeah.
So last year when the pandemic happened, I plugged back in for a short amount of time, but you know, the pandemic kind of slowed me down a little bit because I was listening to some other things. So I didn't really get out there and rock the way that I should have.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept seeing these numbers, and I kept saying to my wife, "Look at this!
Mm-hmm.
Look at this!"
Mm-hmm.
And it just got to a point where I was like, "Look, this is time to go."
Okay. Got it. So you made that move, right? How long ago was that?
That was December.
December. So when did you start full time with us?
I left the job December 23rd, so figure first week of January I was here.
Okay, cool. What was the transition like?
It was scary, bro. It was scary.
The funny thing I know is it's still a little scary,
Yeah.
so I'm not like, but I know we're on the other side of the initial scary. But let's talk about it.
The transition for me is going from having a set schedule, knowing where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, to not having that schedule. And it was like, oh, this is interesting. This is fun. It's relief. It's like a relief, but the money wasn't coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, coming from a place where I was a big fish in a small pond to a place where you were a small fish in a big ocean is humbling.
Yeah, I feel that. So when did you start to really gain a little confidence with your sales? And I know a lot of it's recent, but when did you start seeing some traction, start developing a rhythm behind dials and actual appointments?
I mean, I always knew how important conference was, and I made a point that, listen, I'm gonna plug in the conference and I'm gonna just come out of conference and start running crazy. It didn't happen that way. But probably like the last week of February is where it started to it's starting to slow down a little bit. I'm starting to know you gotta dial the phones, you gotta deal with the nonsense, you gotta get in front of people. And here we are.
So talk about that. Dialing the phones, quote unquote, dealing with the nonsense. Explain. You got people that are tuned in. You got people here. What does that look like? Because, you know, I think, again, that's the point. Everyone's trying to avoid the quote unquote nonsense, right? But talk to us about it.
So we hear, you know, you got to put your emotions to the side. You got to check yourself. It's hard to not get emotional when you call somebody and like, hey, you fill this out, bang. Hey, I'm just getting back to you. If you don't call me, bang. Like, it's tough not to get emotional, and it's just, you know, you gotta just take it and on to the next. I see hashtag on to the next. I see, you know what I mean? What's next or whatever. And you just got to understand, listen, you're not going to get them all. Just keep pushing, keep plugging. You're going to find a bunch of them. And like you said, tapping in with Mo Tillis, you know, when somebody hangs up on him, he says, thank you, and smiles. And I, you know, just started trying some different things.
Yeah, what does that self-talk look like, number one? And number two, what does that study time look like? Even if it's reaching out to other top producers or listening to YouTube, what does that look like?
Yeah, so, I mean, the self-talk is always, you know, you can do it. You're a top producer, trying to stay positive, trying to reinforce the fact that, you know, anybody can do this. You know, these guys, the top producers making 30, 40, 50 grand, they're no better than me. Study time, plugging into live dials, Zooms, YouTubes early in the morning, in the car, constantly making phone calls. When I call you, it's call you to ask you some questions. Like, come on, man. It's tough, but you got to go through it. You have to just work through it. And, the good thing about FFL, Tri-State, the people that I know, everyone who comes into the office, humble, answer my questions, open books. John Mazzella a couple weeks ago reached out to him like, yo, you coming to the office? I got some questions. So now I'm not coming to the office, come to the house. Went right to the house, and it was so it's there. The culture's there. People want to see you win.
Yeah, strong. So what's been your biggest submit week? What's been your biggest issue pay week so far?
So my biggest submit week was last week so far, 76.
While I have you up here, when we go through this, talk to us a little about what you saw here from an appointment, sits, close, apps.
So 17 appointments, 11 sits, 4 apps, 4 closes. Just starting to tie down things a little bit more. A couple of those appointments were no-shows originally, where I had to come back around and hit them at a different time. Did that.
Talk about this real quick. First off, 17, would you have liked to have more?
Yes.
Okay, what's your thought behind that? Like, why did you stop at 17? What happened?
I just didn't put, I didn't put the gas on. You know what I mean?
It's like,
yeah, it's a fact.
honesty's good. Why? Because people are dealing with this.
I-
This is the real deal. Like, this is how it really works psychologically. And we're just trying to, as you say it, you're getting better. And as they hear it, they're getting better. So we'll talk.
So again, 17, I had the week before, I had 23 and didn't get anywhere near that. So I felt good about those 17. I was getting some positive feedback. Life happens and the family and all that other stuff. So that's what it is.
Love it.
I got a question for Aaron. So, you've been obviously following your numbers, sat next to you last week. So how did you get? I mean, that's 64% with 11 sits, 17. Like, what did you change there?
So it's not that I changed anything. I just started asking a bunch more questions in the house.
Okay.
House, he's talking about the sits, right? You're talking about the sits, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So he's talking about this ratio.
Oh, just in
Like,
terms
that's
of
64%. It's pretty good. I don't think your numbers were like that before. Did you change any language? Like, what'd you do?
no, not really.
Any more tie down?
I can answer that. One of the things that you didn't forget, like you hit everything on the head, but Aaron has been here every week religiously,
Right.
asking
On
a
the
lot
dot, yeah.
of questions.
Yes.
And that's also helped out dramatically. And that's why it's imperative that each and every one of you agents get to an office. Because as we said, some people it takes weeks, some people it takes months. For you, it took you a little bit longer, but now, we go through the apps and the sits and how to close those ratios every week. And by you being here, asking questions, you're getting it. You're on your way now. You're starting to get the hang of it. And hopefully it just snowballs from here. So being here religiously every week for him, it's helping him dramatically because he's not out and about watching Netflix after 20 minutes of no.
Right. Sure.
He's got no
Makes
choice
sense.
but to pick up that phone
Correct.
and take another no.
It's really good. Thank you, man. So 11 sits out. I like that ratio, by the way. And I think that if you had 25 or 30 appointments, that's 16, 17 people you're seeing. So that's strong. But then you had kind of a drop off between sits and closes. What was that?
So I got to get better at going through the financial inventory completely. I find myself jumping from one thing to the next. Like I have not been doing a great job of counting the people's take home money. You know what I mean? Okay, so how much do you make? I haven't done a good job of finding what's excess. I ask about, do you put extra, saving any extra money, or you put more money to the mortgage to pay it off? But I haven't been allocating the money and saying, okay, so you have $200, $300, $400 extra a month. You know what I mean?
Why do you think that's an important fact?
To find out how much they can spend. Let these people know that I know that they, like Eric Schmidt said, you gotta let the clients know that you know they can afford it.
Yeah.
They can spend it.
I like that. And Eric Schmidt's a top producer. There's no doubt about it. For me, they always have money. I could kill us. Nobody feels like anything. He thinks it's free. It's not free. They always have money. I don't necessarily need to know they have $1,000 or. Now, if I find it, it's usually going to be through 401k money that they're or whatever. And I found money, but they always have money.
The other thing is, like when I've been sitting with people, I haven't done as good a job as I can at finding the why, bringing out the emotion. So I have people that say, yeah, I'm interested, but I haven't really drilled down on that. So by the time I get to the point where I'm trying to present some options, it's okay, let me think about it, or,
Yeah, okay.
You know what I
Makes
mean?
sense. Yeah, I got you. Why are you doing that? Sounds like pain, like it's painful. Any reason why you can't just put that in your presentation and get that done?
no, I'm going to start doing it more. I think my excitement to just be in the home and get to speak to somebody, you know what I mean?
It's all good.
Had me kind of rushing and not really taking my time and really drilling down on the why and bringing out the emotion and slowing down.
And we've
the
all been
financial
there, right?
results.
You know what I would do? Is I would put in your notes in home. And this is open amongst everything else. And maybe I have the computer keyboard's here, maybe I have this computer screen up and it's just there. This way I'm not moving too fast. Because, everyone has a phone. Everyone's phone goes off, so it's gonna light up. It's no big deal. And honestly, I don't think they would care. Because they're just trying to get coverage, right? A lot of times we're sitting with somebody, like if I have a plumber over the house and they need to step out in their car to call their manager, do you think I care? Do you care? When the plumber steps out to call his manager, do you think they don't know what they're doing? Do you think they're trying to fix your problem, right? So I think we overthink what they think. It would actually make more sense for you to write down the 4 or 5 points that are not helping you get a higher close ratio. I'm sorry. Higher close ratio. Because that would allow you to slow down. So if the why isn't figured out, you don't have to leave that bullet point. And it would just be there in your notes. So every time you about to sit down, you're done with the small talk, open up your phone, just lay it out, put the notes out. And this way, this starts to go up. It's not the excitement about getting in front of seeing somebody and forgetting what you want to do. It's, I'm here to protect you, like you're a professional. I'm here to protect your family. Here's my process. We got to go through this process in order, and now that process is here until you memorize it. Make sense?
Yeah.
I'd rather read from something or be able to look down at something and pop back up than miss 7 sales or maybe 3 sales. You wasn't maybe go 100%, but let's call it 3 more sales would have definitely helped this number and would have helped this number, right? So not a bad play. And again, that's what this is for. We triage this so we can kind of give pointers and help because there's always room to grow. But still, $7,600. A lot of this was issued when you left the house, correct?
Correct.
So not a bad pay week, or pay period. Ha! What was that? What were the deposits like?
33, like 24.
Yeah, so about $1,500. Okay, from a guy who was needed and wanted to do well, and $1,500 in a couple days. Back at it today. This is nothing, by the way, gets you excited to go back in the office. Like $1,500 dumped into your account for helping families, right?
That's a fact.
So give him a round of applause, man. I'm proud of you. I think we can have it. I'm gonna bring up my man John Mazzella. He's gonna crunch through these numbers, and appreciate all you do, man. Thank you for leading this thing, helping us out each week. Thanks again. Give him a round of applause, John.
So I just want to touch on one thing before I go over the numbers. One of the big things that I have always learned in my career, I started out on Wall Street. And one of the things that we were taught is always hit the greed button. Bob, you invest in $10,000, we're looking to make you 20 to 30% over the next 3 to 6, 9 months. That's a total of, whatever it is, $15,000, $18,000. It's the same thing in the home. Bob, you're gonna pass away. It's gonna happen. It's whether it's gonna happen tomorrow, next week, or next year, it's gonna happen. And Mary's gonna get a check for whatever the mortgage amount is, or whatever the final expense is, whatever that number is. She's gonna get a check, tax-free, $40,000, $100,000, $200,000, tax-free to her. Once you show the death certificate, everything's in my hands and the carrier we choose. She's gonna get that check tax-free. So by hitting that greed button, they sort of forget about how much the premium is. Unless they're really, unless somebody's on Social Security and they make $800 a month and you give them final expense for $100 a month, it's not gonna go well. But if you hit the greed button enough times, they sort of forget what that premium is. So going over the numbers, Andy Garcia, 16 appointments, 6 sits, 5 closes, 5 apps, $5,002. Juan M, 23 appointments, 12 sits, 8 closes, 8 apps, $5,700. Noah D, 10 apps, 10 appointments, 10 appointments, 6 sits, 3 closes, 4 applications. Albain, 17 appointments, 6 sits, 2 closes, 2 applications. Steve Claude, 11, 8, 6, 9, 88, 79. And Aaron, once again, nice week, 17 appointments, nice close ratio, 4, 76, 35. So good job to you guys. I just want to go over one thing. Instant internet leads. Seems like there's a lot of confusion. I had put out a post, put several posts this week on Facebook. Internet leads are exactly that. They're internet leads. You, the agent, exclusively get that lead that's in the CRM. So when that internet leads hits the CRM, you're the only agent in FFL that's going to get that lead. But they're internet leads. So there are other agents, other people calling these people. So just understand that you're not the only one calling them. The reason why they get a lot of phone calls is because there are hundreds of other agents that are buying that same lead. So it's imperative that you get on top of that ASAP. So when you get the lead, make sure you call it before the other guys that are probably more hungry than you if they're calling them before. So I just wanted to tighten that up. Any questions? Did Mark go over everything? Are we good?
I guess
Yes.
I would just make a secondary statement to not be afraid, if you're buying the fresh leads, to not be afraid to call them multiple times in a day.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. The
Because
only,
I've seen people, like I've talked to a few people, they'll call on the Monday, they'll call on the Thursday, but these things are fresh. Like if
Yeah,
you're
I
buying
mean-
$11 leads, don't waste them for just a phone call here, a phone call there on Monday and Thursday.
yeah, it's important that you call them throughout the day sporadically. Call them 3 times in the morning, the afternoon, at night, whatever time. I mean, listen, if they don't answer the phone after a week, call them 7 o'clock in the morning, call them 10 o'clock at night from a different number. Hey, listen, we're just trying to get in touch with you, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's definitely important that you don't put those off to the side and sleep on them. It's definitely important that you work them. With internet leads, again, yeah, they're getting a lot of phone calls, but again, like I said, you just got to try to be creative. Mark was talking about what I did last week. I was only in the boardroom just having fun, talking to people, just calling people, having fun, and thank God for me, she didn't slam me right away. She actually stood on the phone, and I had that opportunity to just think quick and say, hey, the reason why you're not interested is because you're getting a lot of phone calls. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, isn't that like cutting off your nose to spite your face? She's like, I guess. And then from there, it was just, a couple of minutes later, I had the appointment, went to the house this weekend. She canceled on me Friday, went back there Sunday, and policy was done. Anybody? We good?
Yeah.
All right, peace.